Constellation Station. Nicole is out of town, so I'm filling in for her. My name is Sam. I also work at the Cincinnati Observatory, and I'm super excited to be here with you guys today, talking about constellations, learning about them, learning how we can find them in the night sky, about their mythology, and talking about how we can make our own. So you guys know Nicole has her own constellation station at her house, so I thought I would make one as well. So here's my constellation station. Now, it's not quite as fancy as Nicole's, I will admit that, but I'm really excited to have it, and I wanted to tell you guys how I made it. So Nicole made hers with a black sheet, and she used construction paper to cut out her stars. Well, I didn't have a black sheet at home, so I decided to use something different. So what I used was a plastic tablecloth. So I had this dark blue plastic tablecloth, and I thought, well, that kind of looks like the night sky, right? So that's what I used, and I just taped it up on my wall using paint-safe tape. And then what I used for my stars was I happened to have glow-in-the-dark stars. So I have all these little glow-in-the-dark stars. Here's what they look like. You guys have probably seen those on bedroom ceilings, bedroom walls before. I got mine from Amazon, and I thought that's a little bit easier than maybe cutting them out because I'm not very crafty like Nicole. So that's what I decided to use instead. And I'm also excited to see tonight, after it gets dark, if my constellation glows. So tonight, if my constellation is glowing, I'll take a picture of it and I'll post it for you guys. So let's check out this constellation. So here is the constellation that we're going to be talking about today. And if you guys have been watching Constellation Station, it probably reminds you of one of the ones Nicole has already talked about. So Nicole talked about one that had kind of a diamond-shaped head and a long squiggly body. And that's right, it was Hydra. Do you guys remember Nicole brought out her snake? He was so cute. So this constellation is actually pretty similar to Hydra, but it's a little bit different. This is Draco the dragon. And if any of you guys are Harry Potter fans, your ears probably perked up at that name. It's one of the reasons I like the constellation Draco. There's a character in Harry Potter called Draco Malfoy, and Draco is named after the constellation of Draco. There's actually a lot of references to astronomy and stars and constellations in Harry Potter. So I wonder if you guys can think back on Harry Potter and figure out any other references to astronomy you can think of. So it makes sense that Draco the character is named after Draco the dragon, because Draco the character is part of Slytherin, which is the snake house, and dragons are kind of like related to snakes, right? Except with wings and legs. So let's talk a little bit about our Draco, the constellation Draco. There's a lot of mythology with dragons, right? There's so many different stories that have dragons in them. And our Draco, the constellation, has a lot of different stories about him, including one that is actually tied to the constellation that I'm going to be talking about next week. So I won't give away too much because I want to see if you guys can guess what constellation we'll be talking about next week. But Draco the dragon in Greek mythology belonged to Hera, the queen of the gods, and Hera gave Draco an important task. She had an apple tree that grew golden apples, and it was Draco's job to guard that apple tree. And next week we'll finish that story, and I'll tell you who came into conflict with Draco about those golden apples and maybe how Draco met his end. But today, let's go ahead and connect our stars. So I know Nicole has used lots of different things to connect her stars, and I was thinking, what do I have around the house that I can use? And so what I came up with is strips of aluminum foil. So I thought this would be good because I have a ton of aluminum foil. I can cut it into strips easily, and then it's really easy for me to tear it so that it fits my constellation. So let's go ahead and get these taped up here. So we'll start off up top with Draco the dragon's head. And you guys may notice I have a large star off to the side here. That large star is Vega. It's a really, really bright star up in the night sky. It is not part of the constellation, but I thought I'd go ahead and include it so you guys would know how to find Draco. All right, so I've got my first little piece taped up there. Draco's head is kind of like an oddly shaped square or diamond shape, so we'll get his head lined out first. And if you're looking for Draco up in the night sky, the easiest way to find him is to look north, and you might find this bright star that I mentioned, Vega. Again, very, very bright star. And the other constellation that will help you find Draco are the Big and Little Dipper. So you guys may notice I have this odd straw situation here. That's my Little Dipper. I think it looks pretty much like the Little Dipper. So you can find the Little Dipper. Draco is kind of curling around that dipper. And I didn't add it to mine, but over here would be the Big Dipper. So Draco's right by both the Big and Little Dipper. All right, now we'll start adding the dragon's neck up here. One of my favorite things about Draco is that Draco is a circumpolar constellation. And what that means is that if you live in the northern hemisphere, Draco does not set below the horizon. So it's not seasonal. A lot of the constellations that we talk about, you can only see them in certain seasons. But Draco here, you can see all of the time. It never sets below the horizon. So winter, spring, summer, fall, it's always up. And I like that because then it's easier to find him and it's easier to memorize. And so Draco's always over by both the Big and Little Dipper. And again, that constellation that we're going to talk about next week is kind of close to Draco. So you can maybe start to see his body. So we've got his head here. Here's his long, kind of snake-like body. So I'm going to use this long piece here and connect several of the stars. Yeah, that's looking pretty dragon-like. I can see it. We'll add our next one. I think it also kind of looks like a kite. So I know Nicole has talked about a lot about like using our imaginations when we're looking at these constellations. And this one I do see a dragon, but I also see a kite. So there's the kite. And this tail is kind of like the tail of the kite flying through the night sky. I wonder, what do you guys see? Does it look like a dragon to you, or a kite, or something completely different? All right, we're almost there. We just need a few more long pieces. Hopefully I cut enough tinfoil. All right, almost there. We're getting close to the dragon's tail. All right, and here's our last piece. Going all the way down to make Draco the dragon's tail. I'll tear off the last little piece there. And there we go, we've got Draco. So there's Draco the dragon. And Draco has been a constellation for a very, very long time. So Ptolemy is actually the first person who connected these stars and made Draco. So that's pretty cool that it's such an old constellation. I love the amount of history that constellations have. And it's cool that not only does it have history, it has mythology, and it appears in our modern stories like Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter. So I will be back again next week, again talking about a constellation that in mythology has something to do with Draco. So I wonder if you guys can think about it and guess who you think it might be. And I will tell you, this person and Draco do not get along. The story does not end well for Draco. So see if you can guess who it is. And I'll give you a hint that this is a fantastic Greek hero. So think about all of the Greek heroes you know about and see if you can figure it out. Well, thank you guys for joining us this week on Constellation Station, and I'll see you next week.